Hi. Today we're going to learn how to create a lithium iron phosphate battery pack by connecting lithium iron phosphate cells in series with one another. For this example, I'll be making a 12 volt nominal battery pack by connecting 4 cells in series. The actual resting voltage of the battery pack will be closer to 13.2 volts, but we'll hear more about that later. You want to start with a clean workspace on an insulated surface. Any old wooden workbench will work just fine. We have here a laminate table, and I have some non-slip rubber padding just to keep things from rolling around, and the rubber is also an insulator, which is very good. You also want to wear some insulating gloves. These latex rubber gloves will work just fine, just to protect you from any electrical shock. Now the only tool that you'll really need to assemble your battery packs is this, Phillips head screwdriver. But for this example we'll also be using a few other things. We have this, Noalox antioxidant joint compound. This is going to keep all the joints from oxidizing, keep any rust or other contaminants from forming, and keep your battery pack operating for years to come. We'll also be using this. It's a voltmeter. It's good just to have, just to check your cells and make sure that everything's performing the way that it should be. I also have this one here. It's the same thing. It's a voltmeter that you can get at Radio Shack. It's less than $20, and it's a really good tool to have if you're going to be doing this type of work. Okay, let's get started. We begin with our lithium iron phosphate cells. They should come in a box similar to this. You can get them at KennedyAlternativeEnergy.com. And we'll start by just removing these screw terminals from the ends. Okay. Now, we will also be using these. These are copper intercell connectors. They're designed specifically for these cells. They have 6mm hole to fit these screws, and they're 40mm apart, which gives us a good connection between these cells, but also allows about 2mm for airspace, just to keep everything cool, keep everything operating the way it should be. Okay, you want to start by putting a small dab of your Noalox compound onto a cloth or rag of some sort, just like this. You can blot the compound together and then rub it into your intercell connector. Just give it a good rub and get it all into all the pits and pores of this copper. And this will keep your joints from oxidizing and keep everything working. Okay. Take your lithium iron phosphate cell and make sure you note which terminal you're using, the positive side and the negative side. And we'll start by connecting this connector to the positive end. Simply slip it on. We'll be using our spring washers and flat washers. This helps to keep the screws from backing out on you, loosening up due to vibration, etc. use your screwdriver to connect the cell. You'll notice I'm using a nice stubby screwdriver like this. It's recommended that you use something like this rather than a long tool like this when you're working with these batteries and battery packs. This keeps you from having some type of accidental shortage of the cells. When these are together, you can easily drop this and the metal contact can short out the cells, damaging the cells, possibly injuring people, damaging your tools, and just causing other problems. Okay, so now we have our connector. It's connected to the positive terminal. In order to connect the cells in series, we'll be connecting them from positive to negative. So we'll connect to the negative terminal of our second cell. There you go. We've connected two cells in series. You can see on our voltmeter the resting voltage of each cell should be around 3.3 volts. As you can see with the first one, there we are, 3.331. And on our second cell, 3.332. When we connect them in series, we've added the voltages of the two cells together. So the voltage of this pack should be 6.663 approximately. Let's find out. Here we have it, 6.66 volts. We'll finish the pack by using two more cells, connecting them in series. Unscrew the screw terminals. Anytime you're working with lithium iron phosphate battery cells, or any type of batteries in general, you always want to be very aware of any tools that you have in the area.